Queen.
We do have this breaking news just coming in from Buckingham Palace. Queen Elizabeth II has died just hours after her doctors said they were concerned for her health. The 96-year-old Queen has been at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. Among the people with her at Balmoral, her 4 children, Andrew, Anne, Edward, and Charles, who is now officially king, automatically ascending to the throne upon the announcement of his mother's death. The Queen, of course, the longest reigning monarch in British history and one of the longest reigning ever.
The Queen has died, and long live the King.
Yes, it's official. At the age of 96, Queen Elizabeth II passed away today. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, it's been interesting to see how varied the reactions to this news have been. You know, the full spectrum of emotions. Everything from, how will the kingdom carry on, all the way to, you shouldn't have colonized India, bye, bitch.
She was simply, to millions around the world, the Queen. The most famous woman of her time. So much history, so many indelible moments. Decade after decade, from the Cold War to the computer age, what an extraordinary reign. And for all those years, through all that history, duty is what defined this remarkable woman. She was born in 1926, a little princess, Lilibet her family called her, who was never expected to become queen until her uncle, the Playboy King Edward VIII, abdicated the throne to marry an American divorcee, and her father then became King George VI. The young Elizabeth was suddenly next in line for the throne.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family.
During World War II, the princess did her duty. She was a driver and mechanic on the home front, and she fell in love in those years, a handsome prince, swashbuckling Navy Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten.
Take thee, Philip.
To my wedded husband.
To my wedded husband.
They married in 1947. 5 years later, when King George died, Lilibet became Queen Elizabeth II. Her coronation was an international sensation.
The death of Queen Elizabeth has also led to new calls for Britain to make amends for colonial-era crimes. Carnegie Mellon professor Uju Anya made headlines Thursday for her sharp criticism of the Queen. The Nigerian-born professor wrote, quote, "If anyone expects me to express anything but disdain for the monarch who supervised a government that sponsored the genocide that massacred and displaced half my family, and the consequences of which those alive today are still trying to overcome, you can keep wishing upon a star." In a separate tweet, Professor Uju Anya wrote, quote, "I heard the chief monarch of a thieving, raping, genocidal empire is finally dying. May her pain be excruciating." Twitter removed her tweet.
But the British Empire Elizabeth inherited was falling apart, all the colonies becoming independent nations. So she helped to create a new realm dubbed the British Commonwealth.
And what a genuinely warm welcome she got everywhere she went.
1,000-mile round-the-world tour to the far-flung domains of the Commonwealth, the first made by a reigning monarch.
Germany's warm welcome to Her Majesty and Prince Philip, the first visit by a British monarch for over 50 years.
Another royal tour, this time to Ghana.
A lightning visit to northern France.
Another port of call, another official welcome ahead.
On to New Zealand, with a Maori choir singing a welcome.
I don't think you can stay in London all the time. You have to visit other parts of the country to either find out what's going on or try and encourage people in different areas, some of which have unemployment, some of which have new factories. And I think the possibility of meeting more people is very important.
And you know, in terms of the knowledge of foreign policy, I think what it is that she was very faithful and dutiful, as the word is often used in the British press, about representing the British state's understanding of its own foreign policy. I have no evidence that she was knowledgeable about what was happening in the colonies, that she was knowledgeable about the enormous violence with which empire ended in many places. When she came to power, there were, brutal counterinsurgencies, not just in Kenya, but in Malaya and Cyprus. Many of the records of the crimes of the British state at that point have been destroyed willfully by the British state. So, how much did she know? We won't know that, but did she speak on these matters? Could she speak on these matters? Was she knowledgeable about what took place? I'm afraid I have no evidence of anything other than that she and the institution of the monarchy perpetuates the British states and the British elites' narrative of itself and of Britain.
Well, in November, Barbados officially removed Queen Elizabeth II as its head of state, freeing itself from the British monarchy after nearly 400 years of colonization. Prince Charles joined the ceremony, where he formally acknowledged Britain's, quote, appalling atrocity of slavery in the Caribbean.
In a way, I didn't have an apprenticeship. My father died much too young, and so it was all a very sudden kind of taking on and making the best job you can. It's a question of maturing into something that one's got used to doing and accepting the fact that here you are and it's your fate, because I think continuity is very important. It is a job for life.
She was the longest-serving monarch in British history. For 70 years, Queen Elizabeth was a figurehead for her country and the Commonwealth. She led the church, guided her family through often turbulent times, maintaining her dignity and composure. Her first instinct, always, to perform her duty.
I think she must have been the most successful monarch we've ever had. To have reigned for so many years and to have kept this extraordinary institution going for so long and through such extraordinary changes, there she was, the rock that the people could look up to.
I guess it depends what you think a good job at being queen is. So if a good job at being queen is to represent white supremacy and to represent that link to colonialism, then yeah, I think she's done a very good job. And I think if you look at the royal family as an institution, I mean, it's still very, very strong. It's weathered some heavy storms, including Prince Andrew, Meghan Markle and all this, and still going strong. And she's still very, very popular. So I guess has she kept the image of the royal family mafia very, very established? Then yes, I think she's done a good job.